Tonight, we're not following kings, queens, or knights. Instead, we slip into the quiet world of those who kept the castle alive but were almost invisible. The scullery girl, the spit boy, the washer with raw hands, the guard who walks the walls at night. Their lives were not about honor or riches, but about endless work and quiet endurance. Good morning. You're awake. Not because you've rested, but because the stone beneath you has stolen the last bit of warmth from your body. The cook stepped on you twice before sunrise, which means your day has already started. Welcome to life as a scullery maid, the lowest of the low in the castle order. You have no pay, no spare clothes, and hardly a name. You sleep near the hearth because it's the only place even slightly warmer than the outside air. Your bed is an old sack of straw that smells of smoke and grease. Your shift, rough wool, is both your nightdress and your uniform. It's been washed so rarely you've stopped keeping count. You rise long before dawn, when the castle is silent. The fires have gone out, so you shuffle into the courtyard barefoot. Your shoes rotted away months ago and were reused for something else. The stones are wet and sharp. You gather wood with numb fingers, coax sparks into flame, and hold your hands above the new fire until they almost feel alive again. Next comes water. There is no tap, no pipe. Only the well, and you. Bucket after bucket, heavy and sloshing, balanced on your shoulders until your back aches. By the time the kitchen staff arrives yawning and stretching, you're already dripping with sweat from 4 trips to the well. No one thanks you. To them, you're just part of the furniture that moves. The cook storms in, already furious, and her wooden spoon is as much a weapon as it is a tool. She snaps at you about the dirty stew pot, so you scrub until your hands sting and crack. Soap? That's for the rich. You use ash and sand, which grind your skin raw. The scullery itself is suffocating, no fresh air, only smoke, grease, and a smell that makes you gag if you think too long about it. Rats scurry across the floor like they own the place. In truth, they do. You're just passing through. By mid-morning, your stomach is hollow. You sneak a crust of bread from your apron pocket, but another maid spots you. Before you know it, you've been assigned to chamber pot duty for the week. Later, you're put on onion chopping, tears streaming until no one can tell if you're weeping from onions or from your life. When the nobles dine, you carry dishes into their hall. You must not look them in the eye. They don't want reminders that servants have faces. You hold a pitcher so long your arms go numb, but you're never asked to pour. The rest of the day is cleaning, hauling, peeling, sweeping. When something goes wrong, even if you've never set foot in the room, you're blamed. By evening, you share a thin stew with the other girls, mostly broth, barely food. You eat it anyway. At night, you return to your corner by the hearth. The embers glow faintly. Someone sleeps beside you. Someone else is crying softly. You don't ask why. Tomorrow will be the same as today, and the day after that, until your body breaks down and someone younger takes your place. No statue, no song, no memory will remain of you. Yet without your hands, the castle would fall apart. You are invisible, but essential. The kitchen finally falls quiet. The pots clank one last time, knives are stacked in their slots, and the hooks gleam under the firelight. You're left with the unglamorous task of cleaning everything the feast has dirted, blades dulled, spit scorched, grease-stained pans. They must be spotless before the steward arrives. A smear of fat earns you extra scrubbing with your own spit, if you're lucky. If not, it's floor duty in the Lord's privy tomorrow. Night drops heavy, smoke clinging to the rafters. The cook's shouting fades, the fire sinks into coals, and you sit close enough to feel heat but too sore to lie down. You're not resting, just existing in that hollow space between exhaustion and nerves. A rat scurries past your feet. You don't even blink. You've stopped caring. Sometimes your thoughts drift back. Maybe you were a shepherd's boy once. Or your parents ran a mill. Maybe they still do, minus one mouth to feed. You wonder if they think of you. But here, there's no path upward. The best you can imagine is that your burns heal before they scar too badly, and that you might be promoted to assistant cook before your back twists permanently. Winter cuts the hardest. The stones leak cold into every joint. You think your station beside the hearth should mean comfort, but it doesn't. One side of your body roasts raw, the other is frozen stiff. You're like the meat you turn, half burned, half chilled, never balanced. No shoes, just rags tied around your feet. Knees crack like hinges every time you crouch. Fingers swell and stiffen until you can't tell if you're gripping the spit or if it's gripping you. Health doesn't last long here. Coughs become part of who you are. Your skin alternates between raw burns and frozen cracks. You smell of scorched fat day and night. The same arm has been seared so many times it looks more like cooked pork than flesh. Remedies? Forget it. Those are for nobles. You're told to rub lard into the wounds and keep turning. In the kitchen's ladder of importance, you're below everyone. The maids, the butcher's helper, even the boy who runs eggs from the henhouse, all above you. The hounds begging scraps rank higher, because at least they're fed. If the steward nods in your direction once a week, that's a highlight. Now and then, you let yourself wonder what life outside the castle might look like. But spit boys don't leave. They either grow into other kinds of servants or burn out early. So you fold yourself back down near the fire, knees hugged to your chest, watching the coals dim. Your burns sting, your blisters split open again, and you imagine what true warmth might feel like, warmth without pain. You can't imagine it. Snow drifts outside, meat crackles inside, and you are trapped between them. Forgotten. Turning forever. Every town needs someone to deal with what people leave behind. That someone is you. A gong farmer, they call it politely. In truth, you shovel human waste for a living. Chamber pots, privy pits, the castle's hidden cesspools. If it ends up there, you're the one who drags it out. It's grim, but it pays better than many jobs, only because no one else dares to do it. Your work begins at night. Not because you prefer darkness, but because no one wants to see, or smell, you in daylight. You're not welcome in markets until you've bathed. Bathing doesn't help. The stink is your shadow now. Your tools are simple, a rake, a bucket, a shovel. Your outfit is thick wool layered with moss and rags, anything to blunt the smell. Nothing works. The stench finds you every time. The job is straightforward, if you can call it that. Climb down into the cesspit, sometimes with a ladder, sometimes with just a rope, sometimes with nothing but nerve. The air is choking, heavy enough to burn your eyes and coat your tongue. Breathing through your mouth doesn't help, you taste it then. Below, the pit is ankle deep in places, knee deep in others, bottomless if you let your mind wander. You dig. The newer filth is bad enough, but the older layers are worse. Black crusts that bubble as though alive, straw soaked with fluids better left unnamed, scraps of food, broken pots, the occasional dead rat, and once, a whole chicken. You gave it a small burial. Sometimes, if fortune smiles, you find coins dropped in haste. Those you pocket. Once the bucket is full, you haul it up, dump it into your cart, and repeat. Dozens of times. The cart creaks angrily as you push it through sleeping streets, the smell trailing like a curse. You head outside the walls to dump it near the fields. Waste becomes fertilizer, and the nobles who sneer at you eat vegetables grown from their own leavings. By dawn, you rinse your tools in a pond already poisoned with years of washing. You scrub your hands raw, but the odor never leaves. People avoid you, even at meals. Some won't share a bench. They whisper jokes, call you stupid, treat you like filth itself. But you know things. You know how to brace a ladder in sludge. You know which oils won't explode if a torch drops. You know the pits better than any map. And despite the mockery, you earn more than a baker's boy. You'll never be rich, but you won't starve either. That's your curse and your leverage. Still, the smell clings to your dreams. Even asleep, you're knee-deep in it. Your shoes squeak when you walk, real leather, curled at the toe. That alone marks you higher than most servants. You're no noble, but you're close to power. Apprentice to the chamberlain, your hands don't scrub pots. Instead, they carry ledgers and tally salt stocks. You shadow the steward of order, learning the castle's nervous system. It doesn't make you free. You're still a servant. But you see what others don't. You enter rooms no kitchen maid will ever step inside. You watch lords lose tempers, ladies hurl linens, guests demand endless comforts. You learn to nod at the right time, to keep your face still while insults fly over your head. Your day begins before the Lord stirs. You sleep in the servants' hall but near the good fire, not the kitchen's smoky pit. A splash of water, fingers through hair, tunic brushed clean on your sleeve, presentation matters here. First, candles. You walk the corridors, swapping out spent tallow stubs with fresh ones. Beeswax is reserved for the chapel and the great hall. Everyone else gets sheep-smelling tallow. As you move, you make notes. Wine casks low, salt dish half empty, chamber pot still full in the guest chamber. You don't empty it yourself, you pass the task down. Delegation is the chamberlain's art. Your master, the chamberlain, is already awake. He's always awake. A narrow man with a sharper nose, he carries himself like ink made flesh. Lavender lingers on him, but so does scrutiny. One misplaced number in the ledger, one overlooked torch stub, and you'll feel his disappointment slice cleaner than any knife. You're not important yet. But you're close enough to touch the fabric of power, and you're learning how it's stitched.